In the final moments of World War II, Nazis escape to the moon. After 70 years, they construct a colossal space fortress. Determined to regain power, the moon Nazis unleash their formidable spaceships and a powerful secret weapon to invade Earth. The world finds itself at war again. Is humanity ready for the unwelcome arrival of the moon Nazis? If you want to stay in the loop and receive more exciting videos, make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, and don't forget to like the video. The film begins in 2018 with an American manned lunar mission returning to the moon. The lunar lander carries 2 astronauts, one of whom is James Washington, a black male model specifically selected to assist the President of the United States in her re-election campaign. Throughout the film, there are posters with wordplay slogans like "Black to the Moon," promoting the significance of this new moon landing. Upon landing on the dark side of the moon, the astronauts unexpectedly encounter a group of Nazis who have been hiding there since 1945. James Washington is captured by the Nazis, and their scientist, Dr. Richter, investigates him and discovers his smartphone. Initially skeptical, Richter realizes that the smartphone's computing power surpasses their own technology and can serve as the perfect control unit for their space battleship, WW2. However, during Richter's attempt to demonstrate this new weapon to the current Führer, Wolfgang Kurzfleisch, the phone runs out of power. Nazi commander Klaus Adler, who has been chosen for genetic reasons to mate with Renata Richter, Dr. Richter's daughter and an Earth specialist, offers to travel to Earth to gather more smartphones. Adler takes a spacecraft to Earth, accompanied by James, who has been transformed in appearance by Richter. Upon their arrival, they discover that Renata has secretly stowed away and joined them on the journey. Meanwhile, on Earth, the President of the United States faces political challenges and desperately needs a miraculous event to secure her re-election. Adler kidnaps the President's aide, Vivian Wagner, played by Peta Sargent, and introduces her to the Nazi couple. Wagner recognizes the resonance of Adler and Renata's message with the President's re-election campaign and entrusts them with managing the campaign's propaganda. Adler and Richter proceed to revamp the President's campaign in a Nazi-style fashion, apparently achieving success, while Richter remains oblivious to Adler's ambition to become the next Führer and dominate the world. After 3 months, Kurzfleisch begins to suspect Adler's plan. He sends his armada to Earth's orbit, although without the WW2. Kurzfleisch himself lands on Earth and confronts Adler but ends up being killed by him. Wagner aids Adler in eliminating Kurzfleisch and realizes that Adler and Renata are actual space Nazis. She engages in a sexual encounter with Adler, but he simply takes her iPad and departs, as he only needs it to power the WW2. Upon returning to orbit with Kurzfleisch's flying saucer, Adler proclaims himself the new Führer. Meanwhile, Renata Richter encounters the now homeless Washington, who helps her realize her aversion towards terrestrial Nazis. Washington exposes Renata to a collection of books and movies that delve into Nazi history, leading her to recognize that the moon's Nazi presence was merely a continuation of their propaganda, fueled by their own self-belief and sense of superiority. When Renata confronts Adler, he attempts to assassinate her, but with Washington's assistance, she manages to escape. The United Nations convenes to address the extraterrestrial Nazi threat. The President becomes enthusiastic about the prospect of a war that could potentially secure her re-election. In light of this, she appoints Vivian Wagner as the commander of the spacecraft USS George W. Bush, equipped with nuclear weapons, which orbits the Earth. Wagner, having been appointed as the chief of the armed forces by the President, assumes command and leads the war effort from aboard the USS George W. Bush. To everyone's surprise, many other nations have also developed armed spacecraft and they join forces to defeat the invading Nazi armada. Returning to Earth, Richter successfully persuades Washington to accompany her back to the moon in order to thwart Adler's plans. Utilizing Adler's flying saucer, they make their way back to the moon and reach the WW2. In this critical moment, Washington takes on the task of disabling the spaceship's engines while Renata embarks on a search for Adler. Simultaneously, the international armada of spacecraft destroys the swastika moon base and converges towards the Götterdämmerung. The final confrontation ensues, and Washington manages to disconnect the tablet device that controls the Götterdämmerung while Richter eliminates Adler. As the spaceship hurtles towards the moon, Adler inflicts significant damage on the lunar surface in his desperate attempt to target the Earth. During the UN session, the US president reaches out to Wagner to convey her congratulations on the hard-fought victory. Wagner discloses a remarkable discovery: vast reserves of helium-3 on the moon. In response, the US president swiftly asserts national claim over these reserves. Chaos ensues as all UN members engage in a heated meeting hall battle, sparking international turmoil and even triggering conflicts among the Allied nations' spacecraft. Meanwhile, Richter and Washington, who has regained his original appearance, reunite in the damaged swastika moon base, leaving Richter's former students in awe as they witness the heartfelt embrace. Richter acknowledges the immense challenges ahead, declaring that they have an arduous journey ahead of them. In the final moments of the film, nuclear explosions engulf the Earth as missiles wreak havoc across the globe. And as the credits roll, a man-made satellite of mysterious origin orbits the planet Mars.